Happy Friday, friends. Matt with Eddie's Guitars coming to you, as always, from St. Louis, Missouri. And I think we're going to have an awfully good time looking at some fantastic guitars today. And I appreciate you joining us here. We've got a really special little guitar right off the bat, first thing off the wall here, from our friends at Iris Guitars. This is the Dan Erlewine DE11 model. With a couple pretty neat little customizations that are very possible through our friends at Iris Guitars. And we want to touch on a few of the extra kind of unique details that all of the Dan Erlewine models have as well, which we're going to get into. But the DE11 is essentially based on, and originally based on a Kalamazoo KG11 model, which is kind of the same size and shape of this guitar, pretty close anyway. And this is a rather faithful recreation plus some, which, like I said, we'll get into the details of that. This is not the first DE11 that we've had in the shop here. This is one of the coolest ones I think I've had the opportunity to play so far, though. Handro, if you don't mind, let's take a look at this top of this guitar here. You can see that this is a totally black top. In fact, the entire guitar is finished in black. And if we get it right reflecting in the light there, you can see quite a bit of finish checking. So this is one of their aged models. And by age, you know, they don't beat the heck out of them or anything. It's typically just kind of the finish treatment that they do, which is nice because it allows for a little bit thinner finish. And the fact that this has those checking, sort of surface cracks all over the place there in the finish, it really kind of relieves a tension within the finish itself, especially on the top of the guitar, which is kind of a nice touch. One thing that I specifically requested was for them to leave the underside of the pickguard unpainted so you could fully appreciate that nice fire stripe or tiger stripe style pickguard there that they do really beautifully. Great shape there, great pattern to that, and over the black looks very, very sharp. The top of the guitar only, not the back, just the top, is bound in grained ivoroid binding. Let's take a close look at that. And we've got that really cool checkerboard kind of binding inside the sound hole there as well, which is just an excellent touch. I think it just really pops beautifully on that black finish as well, even compared to the Sunburst, which are great too. Excuse me. Back and sides of this guitar are a beautiful set of mahogany, but you wouldn't know it because they painted it black. And again, it kind of has that aged kind of look to it. You can see that there's very little grain fill happening here. You can almost feel the actual grain in the back of the guitar, which is a nice touch. And again, kind of implies that, you know, just very lightly finished kind of vibe and very lively acoustic vibe to it. All the way up on the headstock, we've got that famous Iris logo, if I can get it in focus for you there. Very bold logo stenciled right on the face of the headstock there. We've got the brass Ricard banjo tuning machines, and these are really a work of art. I'll tell you, the smoothness of these tuning machines, the stability of them is excellent. And I know, you know, we're not used to seeing a lot of guitars with, you know, banjo tuning machines on them, but very, very vibey. And I'll tell you what, the functionality of them is awesome. The fine tunability of just the touch of these tuning machines is very satisfying for sure. You might see some interesting stuff happening on the face of the fingerboard of this guitar here, specifically some holes that are present and a little capo floating there as well. This is the integrated capos that come with the DE11 models from Iris Guitars, all the way up to the, what do we have here, the 7th fret. We have holes drilled directly into the fingerboard, and every other one, of course, is hidden within those ivoroid inlays there. What those are for is obviously to mount these capos, and there's a few capos that these guitars all come with. This is the partial capo that just does the center 4 strings there, leaving your 2 E strings uncapoed. They do give you 2 capos that reach all the way across the strings as well. And what's really neat about this, of course, we've got the kind of cool double drop E, if you will, sort of effect that gives you. But what's nice about these, you can really simply just unscrew this little thumb screw here. That pops right out. Don't lose it. And just a neat design. Of course, you can even use, a full across capo, at one fret, and then the partial capo a little higher up if you wanted to completely change the key of everything that you're doing. But this allows for some pretty cool kind of open tuning sort of tricks without actually having to detune the guitar, which is pretty neat. That's all of this built-in capo design is totally all of Dan Erlewine's sort of brainchild for this guitar specifically, which is just pretty darn excellent. Very, very comfortable, though somewhat sizable V-profile neck on this guitar. 1 3/4 at the nut. We've got 2 5/16 spacing at the bridge, with again kind of a vintage-inspired V-profile neck. Really, really feels great, and I think perfectly matches kind of the mood and attitude of the rest of the guitar in a really beautiful way. And these are definitely meant to be kind of barky, raspy, kind of growling little instruments, and they definitely do that. They're killer for slide. I won't embarrass myself and put a slide on my finger and try to show you what I'm talking about, but I've heard a few folks in the shop playing these with slide, and they really work well for that Delta blues kind of thing. Just have that nice kind of gritty attitude to their sound. Very cool. Folks, as always, we've got Mr. Alejandro joining me behind the controls today.
What's up, guys?
Turning all the knobs and all that good stuff.
All the knobs.
How's your day going so far, Andrew?
Oh, fantastic, man. It's Eddie's Livestream 56. What's not to love?
Is this 56 or 55?
Well, it's 56 because last one was 55, and I did it again. I had to change the title. So it's technically 56.
I was going to announce
Typo.
it as 55. It's a good thing I didn't.
We got some of the regular players in here. Jim Bayerly,
Nice.
Rowith, Harry Robbins, Jason Caruso, Ian Cummings,
Nice.
Lily Cat, David Vandermolen, Leah Wielden, and Remos Forza. It goes on and on and on.
Beautiful.
All saying hello.
Appreciate you all joining us.
And we do have one, Arland, on YouTube, who has total blindness and was wondering if you could describe some of the colors, which you do normally describe.
Certainly.
Them visually.
I would be glad to. Absolutely. I would be glad to.
And a couple of questions before we go into the next one.
Yeah.
Jim Bayerly is curious, what is the delivery time for Iris guitars from ordering to delivery?
That's a good question. Right at this time, right around 5 months. Give or take a little bit, just depending on the exact model specifications and all that stuff. If you're doing a Sunburst, that takes a little longer than like a fully naturally finished guitar. But if you have something in mind that you're curious about, shoot me an email and we can get you some pricing in a very detailed ETA as far as our build slots are concerned. So absolutely. The turnaround time on the Iris is not bad though
It's
at
quick,
all,
yeah.
especially considering the length of some of the builders we represent are 2 years plus in some cases. So.
Oh, yeah. And then question from Rod on Facebook. He's looking for an affordable Brazilian rosewood guitar. Do you think a Breedlove concert or a concertina would be a good way to accomplish that?
Sure.
And
yeah.
is Breedlove quality comparative to high-end builders?
My experience with Breedlove has been mostly pretty positive. If I had to share one observation that is maybe slightly less than ideal, they have almost sort of an inherent tightness in many of the Breedloves that I've played. We're going to hear the exact opposite of tightness in this guitar right here, especially considering it's a brand new example of an acoustic guitar. But a lot of the Breedlove guitars, beautifully made, fit and finish, the attention to detail and the physicality of the guitar, spot on, absolutely spot on. Some of them have sounded a little tight to my ear. That's probably just a matter of me playing new examples of those guitars that haven't had a lot of miles put on them. I haven't played admittedly a whole lot of, several-year-old breedlove guitars, but they've been in mostly new kind of circumstances. So maybe don't let that tightness observation scare you. I'll tell you another builder that you ought to at least be aware of that is doing, I'm not going to say cheap, but I'm going to say very reasonably priced Brazilian rosewood guitars, considering the quality and all that. Jeff Jewett, check him out for sure. He's been somebody a builder we've represented for the last few years here. His stuff's awesome, and for the price of admission, it's excellent stuff. So I think he's got some pretty fancy Brazilian rosewood on hand too, which would be a lot of fun. So good question. Folks, we've just reached another absolutely gorgeous guitar off the wall. This is a Goodall Concert Jumbo Cutaway, and with some pretty significant upgrades that we were able to do with the folks at Goodall Guitars there. Alejandro, if we could take a look at this top here. We've got an incredibly, this is considered a master grade Bearclaw Sitka spruce top. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And in the Concert Jumbo context, again, very open, very lively, dripping with sustain, I will say, and just beautiful figure, deep figure in that Bearclaw top. Boy, oh boy, look at that. The body, the neck, and the headstock of this guitar are all bound in extra curly maple binding. You can see the perimeter purfling around the top of the guitar is a beautiful Paua shell or Paua abalone border around the face of the guitar, as well as that beautiful abalone rosette going right around the sound hole there. Beautiful, beautiful inlay work there. Love the little dove inlays that they do on the wings of the bridge there as well. Nice little mother of pearl birds there. Back and sides of this guitar are an incredible set of flamed mahogany, figured mahogany. Got that beautiful maple back strip going down the center of the back that's all really, really intricately mitered in there at the top and bottom, meeting the binding there. Maple heel cap to match, of course. We had this one preloaded with a gold strap button on there for those that are ready to take it out and perform, or just stand up and look at themselves in the mirror at home, either way. Really beautiful mahogany on the back and sides of this guitar. Beautiful, deep figure. Got a totally jet black ebony veneer on the face of the headstock there. We added the abalone perimeter around the headstock as well to match the body on the guitar. Really good looking inlay around that headstock there. Of course, we've got the Goodall logo with the mother of pearl wings there as well. Those are gold Godot 510 tuning machines with the little mini ebony buttons on there. Very sharp looking indeed. The fingerboard of this guitar is also done in ebony. We've got a combination of the split diamond inlays as well as those mother of pearl doves that are kind of a callback to those bridge inlays. Nicely coordinated there. We've got the standard 1 3/4 inch nut. We have the standard 2 1/4 spacing down here at the ebony bridge as well. And this is a rather lightweight guitar. I think that this one hasn't even made it onto the website yet, if I recall correctly.
No, I don't think so.
In just a really dynamic, beautiful tone, and it's almost got, you know, some of the overtone presence that a lot of folks I think would associate with a rosewood guitar, but it's a Goodall. It's going to have that extra presence in there. really just a lush presence of harmonics happening there. I'm going to see if I can find a guitar pick here.
Real quick, what size strings are loaded on those?
These are EJ16 D'Addario light gauge, so it's going to be a 12 through 53, just very run-of-the-mill strings. Amazing when Spruce and Mahogany can just give you that much richness and really beautiful presence of overtones happening there. Really nice.
Yeah, that's awesome. Dan McCarthy was curious, if you flat pick or strum on a jumbo, is there a possibility that it could be too loud for your voice if you are not amplified?
That would depend on your voice, sir. How strong is your voice? And also depends on the guitar. You know, some are louder than others. Simple as that. You know, they're not all created equal. The volume coming out of each isn't you know, always the same necessarily. But yeah, there are certainly some guitar. In which body style did he say specifically?
Jumbo.
Jumbo.
Your bigger bodies.
Interestingly enough, a jumbo isn't necessarily the loudest guitar out there, believe it or not, even though it's, you know, oftentimes a big guitar with a lot of air cavity in it. You'd be surprised that smaller, barky guitars can put it out pretty loud too. You know, dreadnoughts, of course, are kind of the long-standing king of volume in a lot of cases, but yeah, a lot of different criteria there, but maybe just yell instead of singing.
And then one last quick question before you start on that.
Yeah.
Atkin, do you have any recommendations for a book or a course for getting into open tuning fingerstyle? Love your mesmerizing tunes, from Simon on YouTube.
Oh, thank you very much. Boy, oh boy. I'll tell you what you ought to look into, and I'm just going to tell you right off the bat, I don't have personal experience with this, but I have like at least 5 or 6 customers that buy every single book that Al Cutaway puts out. You might know Al Cutaway. He does a lot of the acoustic demos for Dream Guitars down in outside of Asheville, or maybe they're in Asheville now, North Carolina there. He is an excellent player, an excellent writer, and he focuses a lot in dadgad tuning, which is, for a lot of folks, sort of their gateway into open tunings. There's a lot of cool tricks that can be sort of done in dadgad that sound, frankly, more complicated than they actually are, just because of kind of the way the notes are arranged. But check out some of Al Cutaway's instructional material. I think he may even have some stuff online, but I know he has physical, you know, books as well. You know, Tony Policastro as well, of the Acoustic Life up in Bozeman, Montana. He's got a very, very successful, for good reason, lesson program that he does specifically online. And it's meant to be a daily thing that you check in, you log into your stuff in his situation there, and kind of have some accountability with a community of folks there, which is really neat. He focuses a lot on open tunings in in a little bit more of like a bluesy sort of attitude in a lot of cases. I know he likes a lot of you know, slide. He's a dobro player as well, killer dobro player. So he's kind of got a little bit of that mindset with open tunings as well. Between those two guys, stylistically, that would give you a wide range of stuff to sort of aim at. So good question. Thanks. Folks, we have reached a very, very, very light little guitar. This thing just wants to float away, it feels like. This is the incredible, incredible little Atkin guitars. This is the L26. If you look at the kind of size and shape of this guitar, it absolutely screams that classic Robert Johnson, you know, kind of size and shape, that L1 kind of thing happening. Admittedly, this is probably the best sounding example of this shape guitar I've ever had my hands on. This thing is stunning, stunning sounding. While it's not loaded with thumping, you know, jumbo or dreadnought quality bass, it's got a warmth to it that definitely makes you feel like, man, is this thing, how long ago was this thing actually made? The answer to that is less than a month ago, but it sounds like it's been a guitar a lot longer than that, which is pretty awesome. And all of these guitars we have been getting in from Atkin, we've been passing them around the shop, and we're all just looking at each other like, why didn't we have these guitars in here sooner? Both on the acoustic end, we've got some of their electric guitars too that are just really, really cool as well. So check those out. This is the L26 though. This is a little 12 fret, short neck, short scale little guitar that is way, way too much fun. Let's take a gander at this guy here, Hondro. We've got that beautiful Atkin sunbursted top here. This is a baked Sitka spruce top, or torrefied Sitka spruce if you like. Pretty much all of the guitars that we've gotten from them so far have a very similar finish treatment that you can see, again, reflecting in the light here, that heavily checked kind of finish there all over the guitar. You can, like I said, baked Sitka on the top with that beautiful sunburst. We've got Honduran mahogany on the back and sides of this guitar. You can see the similar finish situation on the back there. Grained ivoroid, I'm sorry, not grained, but plain ivoroid binding on the body and neck of this guitar, as well as around the inside of that sound hole edge there. Very sharp looking. We've got the black headstock veneer there with the very simple Atkin logo up top there, kind of silk screened right on there. 3 on a plate tuning machines with the nice white buttons. Very, very old school. Again, just really matching the vibe of this guitar completely. Got an East Indian Rosewood fingerboard on this guitar, as well as an East Indian Rosewood bridge, and you can just see the placement of that bridge is way, way down low into that top, and that's one of the ways that they're able to get the neck dimensions kind of so short on this guitar, is by sinking that bridge so far down. In fact, if you look closely, if I can hold it straight here, the bridge actually goes further down than the widest points of the bridge here, which is pretty cool. Definitely, I think, is pulling out some of that warmth that I mentioned in the voice of this guitar. Super, super vibey little guitar. I failed to mention, this has the standard 1 3/4 inch nut with the 2 5/16 spacing at the bridge. The neck on this guitar is certainly not a giant neck at all. This is actually a very kind of average feeling C profile neck on it. I don't feel any presence of a V there at all, but just a really comfortable C profile neck to this guitar. And like I said, I think Alistair Atkin over there in England is just doing really magical work at a very reasonable price point, I think. And just the finish, the construction of the guitar, most importantly, the tonality, the playability, wouldn't change much about this at all.
And speaking of the nut width there, Remo was curious, why does Atkin make all of his guitar models with a 43 millimeter nut and no bigger?
It's a good question, and that's well. Let's debunk the theory that all of his guitars are made that way. That is a 45. There it is. That's a 45 millimeter nut on that guitar. If you just order an Atkin guitar from Atkin Guitars and say, build me an OM37, they'll build it with a 43 millimeter nut width and match that with basically a 2 3/16 spacing at the bridge, which is fine. The rest of the guitars that we have ordered from Atkin, pretty much moving forward, unless we get a custom, request for a narrower nut, all of the guitars moving forward that we get from them, aside from a few that we already have, are going to have the 1 3/4 or 45 millimeter nut with the matching 2 5/16 down at the bridge, which we're going to be really excited about. I would have bought several of them already if they did not have 43 millimeter nuts on them, but that's another story. Good question. Folks, we have reached the only used guitar, lightly used guitar, I should say, on the wall behind me today. This is from my friend Drew Hineonen. And this actually just came in earlier today. And I thought, we got space on the wall, let's add it. This is the Hineonen SJ Cutaway, small jumbo for short. And this is a faithful, I don't know if recreation is the word, maybe interpretation of the James Olson SJ, very famous Olson SJ models, notably probably most famous in association with Mr. James Taylor with Olson guitars. For some time, Drew Hineonen apprenticed with Jim Olson there. And I'll tell you, the talent that this guy has in making guitars is frightening. Every Hineonen that I've played has just been excellent, excellent, excellent. And we've had just a few of them through our doors. They never last long, and they're highly limited as well. People understand, I think, what he's doing. He's got over a 2-year waiting list right now. I think that might be over 2.5 years at the moment. But he's doing kind of all the right stuff, if you ask me. As I said, this is his SJ model, very closely. It's almost a duplicate, like I said, of the Olson SJ in a lot of ways. Let's take a look at these beautiful woods here, if we could. We've got a beautiful Western red cedar top, which is just classic SJ. Very much so the stuff that James Taylor would request if they were building him a guitar. The rosette and the purfling on this particular example is unlike any that I've seen in person before. We've got the abalone rosette in there, but on either side, I'm going to see if we can get real up close here. That's radial cut rosewood. I'm sorry, is that cocobolo or rosewood? I think that's cocobolo there. Since I didn't order it, I'm not as intimately familiar with this one as I am the rest of them that we have here. But I believe that's a cocobolo radial cut rosette. And I'm going to try to get real close here on the purfling, because that is just great stuff there. Matching purfling there as well, that's all kind of radiating out from the top as well in a very specific angular manner. Like that, really excellent work. I can't imagine the patience it would have taken to do all of this and keep all of it very oriented the way that it is. Back and sides of this guitar are a beautiful set of ultra straight East Indian rosewood with some really beautiful miter work. Once again, with the back strip there in the binding. Really nice detail work. We've got the 5-piece laminated neck with mahogany, maple, and rosewood in there. Beautifully done. Even the volute there. Nice sharp volute on the back of the headstock. Ebony headstock veneer here, if I can show that to you, with the Hineonen logo inlaid all the way up top, nicely bound and purfled there again around the whole headstock. Gold 510 Goodall tuning machines with the black buttons. We've got a totally blank, in terms of inlay at least, a totally blank ebony fingerboard on this guitar, as well as the ebony bridge. Again, just a very luxurious, lush tone that these guitars are known for. In fact, I've had the opportunity to play a number of the Olsen SJ models over the years. Not dozens and dozens, but I've played several over the years. Gotta tell you, I think the Hineonen guitars, at least to me, appeal to my ear a little bit more than a lot of the Olsens that I've played, I have to say. Right in the pocket kind of a tone, man. That's a beautiful thing.
I'm going to butcher this when I say it, but Jason Caruso was curious if you have played any guitars with falcate bracing or falsate? F-A-L-C-A-T?
I haven't. And I'll be honest, I don't fully understand even what that is.
He said he recently played one that had some carbon fiber in the bracing, but the clarity, volume, and sensitivity of the small guitar was incredible.
Oh, interesting.
I'm not familiar as well.
If you can ask him, or maybe I can ask him since I'm on camera here, who was the maker of that guitar, if you don't mind me asking? I'd be curious. Do you think they turned the air conditioner off?
No, I just think it's up.
It's really hot in here.
I'll be right back.
Sorry, I'm making Handra do something. He doesn't like that. While Handra's checking on our AC situation. Sorry if you were clipping on that. Wow. Folks, we have reached the seemingly endlessly powerful Iris DF model, and we've had several DF models through our shop, all of which have been outstanding. Usually spruce top, mahogany back and sides. This one is something else. I'll just put it that way. Very powerful DF here. Let's take a gander at this top here, Hondro. We've got a European spruce top underneath that beautiful tobacco Sunburst. Nice fire stripe pick guard there. Really nice against that burst as well. Back and sides of this guitar, I'm pretty darn excited about. I've got to say, a absolutely stunning set of flame maple with a lot of just three-dimensional. Look at that flame in that back. Really a lot of three-dimensional movement when you kind of shift it in the light there. Very gorgeous wood here for sure. And man, I'll tell you, the projection this maple has that just goes straight out of the face of the guitar is something. Even the back of the neck is sunbursted, so we've got a fully bursted guitar here. Again, that beautiful Iris logo on the face of the headstock. Rosewood fingerboard bridge again here on this example. And like I said, this thing is an absolute powerhouse. And this is a, bear in mind, it's a slope shoulder, 25-inch scale length. It's not a 25.5-inch or thereabouts. It's a short scale, comfortable to play. 1 3/4 nut, 2 5/16 spacing at the bridge. That's kind of our sweet spot in a lot of cases here. Very, very playable round C profile neck. Again, nothing offensive feeling about this neck at all. I think for practically anybody out there. We've got the 3 on a plate. I want to show you on the back here super quick because I love those tuning machines. The 3 on a plate, Golden Age reproduction tuning machines there. Again, very vibey with the rest of the guitar. Man, I'll tell you, this thing has got massive, massive horsepower to it. And again, we're talking a guitar that is an infant in terms of how long it has been a guitar. So it's figuring itself out still. I think all of the things that I am hearing and loving about it, all of those things are going to kind of just keep growing as it realizes it is a guitar. Definitely a rhythm and flat picking machine here, just with the volume and headroom this guy's got. somebody in St. Louis buys this so I can go play it sometimes. Awesome. Iris DF with the maple back and sides. Man, that's maybe a secret ingredient on these things.
And their bursts are to die for,
They're
dude.
killer. I mean,
I
look at
love
that.
their bursts.
Look at that. Very old looking.
You think Jeff Jewett made the stain for those?
I'd be willing to bet that he did. I don't know who else would have.
To back it up to the we were talking about
The maker of the Facilitate guitar.
He said it was G.R. Bear. He's an Aussie, but now he makes and lives in Canada.
I definitely, I believe I follow him on Facebook or maybe Instagram. I've seen, I assume it's a he. Maybe I shouldn't assume that. I've seen their work, and it's gorgeous. I would like to play one of those guitars for sure.
And I lost it. Chris was asking, since they're both in the same vein, would you prefer the Iris guitars or the Waterloo guitars?
Boy,
that's tough.
Is both an option?
Both is an option.
They're really, what's interesting is almost in no time, Iris had like quite a few different varying models. If you remember back to when Waterloo was first launched years ago now, we had the WL14 in a ladder brace version and an X brace version, and that's all we had for quite some time. Then the guitars that they added to those were, in a lot of cases, different interpretations, 12 fret versions, maple back and side versions. Then they came out with the WLS models, WLS Deluxe, the Jumbo King model. It's a hard question to answer because the model focus between the two brands is very different. Iris is wide open. They're building, 14 fret OMs. They're building 12 fret triple O's. Tiny little guitars, great big jumbo guitars. There's a huge range there. So that's an attractive thing for somebody who likes a little variety or maybe just doesn't want an LOO shaped guitar, basically. Collings and Waterloo have put a lot of focus on that WL, whether it be the 14 fret or the 12 fret. And there ain't nothing wrong with that at all, because those are killer guitars also. A little bit more inherently mid-range focused, I hear, out of the Waterloo guitars. Another contributing factor, I'm simply just going to throw this out there because it's very much so a reality. The availability of Iris guitars is on a very different level than the availability and demand, I shouldn't say demand, but certainly the availability supply of the Waterloo guitars, which are nearly impossible to buy, at least in a new basis. When we get a Waterloo guitar in here, doesn't matter which model it is, within 24 hours, tops, it's gone, period. There's simply more availability, more options out there with the Iris guitars, at least by today's standards. So I'm not going to say one or the other for myself personally, because I love both of them, but for totally different reasons, which is amazing because you look at the two of them and stylistically, there's a lot of similarities, but if you pull back the curtain a little bit, there's quite a few differences there, and a lot to respect and a lot to want, frankly, about both of them. So get one of each at least. Folks, we have reached a magnificently beautiful guitar from my good friend Kieran McNally from across the pond. This is his OM custom, and we were able to work pretty darn closely with him in terms of material selection with this guitar, which was an absolute pleasure to be able to do. Kieran is a massively talented builder. I think, at least by today, highly underappreciated, I think. I hope we're able to spread the good word of what he's doing here. This is a McNally OM custom, as I said. We've got a beautiful, hey Hondro, thanks man. a beautiful Swiss moon spruce top on this guitar, very blonde in color, very nice. Lots of the medullary ray in there, if I can show that. Really nice. The rosette on this guitar is absolutely incredible. We've got that nice thick ring of koa, and then right on the outside of it, we've got that abalone touch there. The purfling is very fine on the top. We've got just a black, maple black purfling line there all the way around the top. Also nice purfling on the sides, framing everything in. The body of the guitar is bound in beautiful, really silky looking maple. It's not particularly, razor flamed, but it's a real, like I said, medullary ray. It's got a lot of that silking in the binding, which is really beautiful. Back and sides, I hope that we can show this without it being too dark or reflective, but it is a crazy, crazy, amazing set of Brazilian rosewood, and it is pretty dark, but you can hopefully appreciate the flaming that's present all the way through. I want to show you the bottom here, if I can. Beautiful koa tail wedge there, and take a look at these colors here. I don't know if that's coming through on the camera. Maybe Hondro can tell me, but we're almost seeing like blues and greens in the actual rosewood here, the grain of the rosewood, which is very unique, very unlike anything I've seen before from a color standpoint in Brazilian. And Kieran was excited. He said, man, I got this stuff sanded and finished, and he said there's almost like this petrol kind of greenish blue that's kind of hidden within the grain here in this guitar. It's really beautiful. Face of the headstock is very, very clean as well, with that ebony veneer. We've got that Celtic knot inlay all the way up top. I absolutely love that. Very powerful looking headstock, if you ask me. These are the gold Shaler Grand Tune tuning machines. We've got koa buttons tying in with a few of the koa touches on this guitar, including that back strip, which I failed to mention when we were ogling over the back of this guitar. Like I said, his ability to voice, his ability to get the fit and finish of his guitar is so perfect. The setup of his guitar is so perfect. I am just really in love with what he's doing. Very clean, defined, lots of note separation there. Great detail in that tone, man. Always appreciate a OM with really good sustain, and boy, this guy's got it. As a lot of people have observed and stated over the past few years at least, Kieran is just doing an incredible job of marrying the kind of European styles with the North American kind of style of guitar. It's just the beauty and the bloom that you tend to get out of the kind of European style with some of the power and sustain and little bit more attitude that you tend to get out of an American guitar, which is just a beautiful combination of several different kind of styles of voice all on one guitar. And he sure makes them beautiful, which doesn't hurt a thing at all.
And David Vandermillen was curious, Swiss moon spruce, fool's gold or the real deal?
Oh, baby. Don't even get me started. Not fool's gold, my friend. If you've got a solid, reliable source on Swiss moon spruce, it oftentimes is absolutely amazing stuff. And of course, builders like this, they know what they're looking for in terms of thickness and weight and stiffness. And, it's not all spruce is created equal, even if it is moon spruce. The cool thing about moon spruce and the way that it's harvested is the relative consistency at which, builders like Kieran and many others are able to purchase this wood and know that it's going to be of a certain quality level. And you can't really say that about everything out there. But a lot of those, ultra high altitude, slow growing European spruces, and especially ones that are, moon harvested, if you will, at the winter solstice, man, it's good stuff. And this is not any kind of, new internet marketing tool that is being used. Just please bear that in mind. If you haven't already, maybe you have, do some reading on it, because it's, it's fascinating. Even Stradivari was very into the moon harvested, woods that he would use for his violins and other instruments, and we all know how folks took to those. Definitely not fool's gold. Good question, though. Like I said, I'm just going to stop myself now because I could talk about nice European spruce until probably the end of time. Folks, we have reached the Atkin J43, and it's not just any Atkin J43, which are excellent guitars. This is a kind of a specific example of the J43 from Atkin Guitars. Absolutely stunning look to this guitar in every way. This is, of course, the slope shoulder short scale, 25-inch scale. Slope shoulder dread guitar from them, very much so your kind of J45 style, if you will. with a rather fancy paint job, if we can say. First, I just want to mention the top that we will not be taking a look at here is baked Sitka spruce. The back and sides, which we will not be taking a look at, is maple. And I actually emailed Alistair there at Atkin and said, hey, do you have any of those like opaque finished, like kind of Gretschy looking guitars in the works? And he said, no, I don't, because I actually just finished one and it's not spoken for yet. Kind of tricked me for a second. And he sent me some pictures of it and of this guitar, and I absolutely flipped out and said, send it to us right away. We are going to take a close look at what we're dealing with here, though. This is the two-tone green finish. Let's face it, though, it's basically kind of based on that Gretsch smoke green kind of vibe, though, which I just think is super cool on a big acoustic guitar like this. The pick guard you can see is a perloid pick guard there. The binding all the way around the guitar, let's take a closer look there, is also perloid, and there's no purfling. The rosette has some purfling, and it also has the perloid, center strip there, center ring. Even the fingerboard has that, if I can get it in focus, the same binding there, and the face of the headstock has a whole big slab of it. We've got the Atkin logo all the way up top there, and the 43 banner right in the center of the headstock, all done in gold. And again, just the vibe of this guitar is very, I've said vibe a lot of times today, Hondro.
I mean, it's not often that we have a literal green acoustic guitar on our live stream.
Very true. 3 on a plate tuning machines. Again, the whole back of the guitar is done in that kind of Gretschy green. Oop.
Uh-oh.
Oh, baby, where are you going? Yeah, okay. We'll get there, folks. And again, the finish all over this guitar is similar to all the Atkin guitars we've had, with that nice crackled checked finish on there. Very vintagey kind of look and just feel to it. Got those double diamond fingerboard inlays done in mother of pearl there against the ebony fingerboard. Also have the ebony bridge down here as well. Very clean looking. I think just a nice dark kind of contrast to all the colorful aspects and very white aspects of this guitar. Pretty cool. Really, really cool though. It seems like, I'm trying to picture who could I see playing this guitar on stage, musician wise, and I'm not coming up with it. I'm picturing somebody, I just can't think of who it is.
You guys tell us in the chat who you think is going to play this guitar.
I'll tell you, the late Tom Petty, I think, would have really appreciated a guitar like this. I know he was a Gretsch nut, and probably would have gotten quite a kick out of something like this. Killer bass, man. when you dig, it definitely gives you some attitude and a little bit of growl back. But if you don't dig on it so hard, man, you can really get some beautiful. This is one of the examples. As I said, we didn't order this because I reached out to them and they said, we got one ready for you. This does have the 43 millimeter or otherwise 1 11/16 inch nut with the 2 3/16 spacing down at the bridge. And again, a very comfortable, non-offensive C profile neck on this guitar. Nothing that I think would give anybody anything to complain about. Just real comfortable, playable all the way up. Does not taper into anything super huge by the time you get up to the body. And again, the action, the setup, playability all the way across is top notch out of this guitar.
Can you give us a little finger style on that before we put it away? A couple people are curious.
Oh. Absolutely nothing to complain about with fingerstyle there at all, man. Definitely responsive and has got the dynamic and the full voice without having to beat it out of it for sure, which is awesome.
All right, so here's who's playing it. Taylor Swift, Brian Setzer.
What? Brian Setzer, I could see.
Billy Strings.
I could see Billy playing this. That would be sick.
Johnny Hash.
Drop a pick here. Is it because it's weed green?
Mother of toilet seat and green lacquer makes the best bass.
I mean, come on. I'm not going to argue with that. Man, it feels like we've been flying. We're all the way at the end already. Felt like we just started hanging out. But it is that time. We have reached the very last guitar on the wall, seemingly rapidly today. Folks, another one that we just got in. I think it maybe made it on the website today, possibly. This is the Goodall Standard Cutaway. With some, you guessed it, very significant wood upgrades that we really like to do around here. The Goodall Standard is a model they have been making for quite a few decades now. So I believe it was James Goodall's first original model. And it's certainly, as you can see here, kind of based on a dreadnought loosely. It doesn't have quite as tight of a waist as your traditional kind of Martin Dread, and it's got a rather large lower bout, even all the way up here, kind of comes up. It's not an uncomfortable guitar to play at all. In fact, it's a rather, for me at least, a kind of a perfect size just to sit down and belt some stuff out sitting down and everything. But cool that it's a very original design of his, and one that has obviously stood the test of time over the years. The cool thing about the standard model relative to like his traditional Dreadnought, for example, which is another very popular guitar he makes, the standard model has a very lightly braced top, and though it is a somewhat large guitar, still is very sensitive, really can just pull out a very full voice with very, very little coaxing from your right hand, for sure. And I'll tell you, he just does an incredible job of capturing that cavernous sound that a guitar this size should definitely have, and doesn't necessarily always have. The Goodalls certainly have them consistently. Let's take a look at this thing here, Andro. We've got a master grade Italian spruce top on this guitar. Again, just a crazy amount of that silking or medullary ray, if we can get up close there. As my friend Tom Sands would say, medullary ray. Maybe I'll start pronouncing it that way. That sounds a little more romantic. We did something kind of custom here. It is so subtle, I hesitate to even mention it, but it is something that we requested for them to do. Normally, the purfling on the top of this guitar, if you can see real up close there, we've got the maple binding on the very outer edge there, yes, but we also have two very, very thin strips of maple being segmented by very even thinner strips of black purfling in there. Normally, there's only one line of that maple, so it's like a black maple black, and then the binding on the outside of the guitar. We asked if they could double that up, and boy oh boy did they do an incredible job of exactly that. It is such a fine detail, but one that you're not going to find on the majority of Goodall guitars out there. We also have the abalone rosette going around the sound hole, and I think I mentioned already master grade Italian spruce. Yes, I did. And an absolutely frightening set, oh my goodness, of special reserve Claro walnut, and we're going to call this figured. I think that there has to be a word more extreme than figured to describe this. Man, just complex layers and layers and layers of overlapping grain and spider webbing and flaming. I mean, it's like figure going every different direction here. Man, is that beautiful stuff. Equal sides in terms of the beauty. Beautiful maple back strip, again with all the mitering work that they do there. Face of the headstock on this guitar is a nice dark ebony veneer. You can see maple bound all the way around the headstock there with the Goodall logo up top. Gold Godot 510 tuning machines, once again with the black ebony buttons on there. This guitar we did the just the notched diamond inlays. They're slotted diamonds. We also added that down to the wings of the bridge here, just to keep everything nicely coordinated with the ebony treatment of this guitar. Boy oh boy, this thing sounds amazing. And like I said, it's sensitive to a light attack. with a pick too, just to show it absolutely can handle about anything you would throw at it from both ends of the spectrum. Great headroom as well. Definitely a versatile enough to, if you're looking for one high-end guitar to cover a lot of bases and maybe trade in all of your maybe slightly less than very high-end guitars to get one, this would be a very worthy candidate for that type of a situation for sure. Again, just the beauty of that Italian spruce, and then once again that insane special reserve Claro walnut. Whew, man, what else can you say? And as I said, we've reached the end here. Handro, what's spoken to you off the wall today? Anything in particular?
Well, yeah. I like the first Atkin that you picked up. I'm forgetting the name of it right now.
Oh, the little L26,
the L26
little
right.
guy there. Yeah, that thing smokes.
Yeah, I like a really lightly built acoustic guitar with a lot of mid-range.
Same.
A lot of times, but then sometimes I want me a Goodall, like the Goodall that you're holding on to.
I tell you, between this and that Mahogany that we played a little earlier in the live stream, man, I would take all of these.
Yeah,
I'm not sure. I'd like to know if anything is speaking to any of our folks out in
oh yeah,
out in the live stream world there.
This is Goodall. I'll keep dreaming.
You and me both.
Staley Explorers says the Iris is the winner. Much more affordable, and you get a killer guitar. Although the Goodall sounds good.
I can't argue with that. The value, and I hate using the word value because it sounds cheap or stupid. But man, I'll tell you, that's a deal right there. If you need some power with some soulful tone behind it, man, that is a freaking deal on that guitar, I will say.
Tomas is going with the Goodall standard Claro walnut.
Yeah.
By a mile.
Yeah.
Save the best for last. Yeah, Goodall has it, says John Kin. And since it's not listed, do you know ballpark price on this?
This one actually should be listed.
Oh, it
now.
is listed.
I think it is. Yeah, I thought Donnie said he was able to list it earlier, and I'm sorry, I don't remember off the top of my head.
No worries.
Price is literally the only thing that I don't ever pay attention to when I'm speccing a guitar.
$13,450.
Gotcha. just shy of 14.
Yeah. Sweet.
Folks, we, as always, really appreciate you joining us on your Friday afternoon, or if you happen to be viewing this after the fact, we appreciate that just as much. Thank you for all of you who contributed to the conversation today. That's seriously why we do this. We want some feedback. We want to hear from you guys. That's why we do it. Otherwise, we would just sit here and record pre-recorded demos all day long, and that'd be fine too. But we really like the interaction with you folks. So we do appreciate that, Hondro and I both. So please keep coming. Please keep asking questions. Please keep making fun of us, and we'll keep the goofy live streams coming. But everybody have an awesome weekend. We will see you in the next couple weeks when we get a new round of guitars on the wall here. And have a great weekend, everybody.
See you later.